Let me give you one more example, and this is okay, I'll give it, because you asked me, you didn't ask me. This is weird and gross, but this is true. This is true. I used to teach ethics at high school, and I would use this story of, this reminds me of substance abuse, of how no one who is healthy would do such a thing. In society, we still put people in prison because they might say, I did something to myself or someone else, and they were all cool, they were consenting adults, but a court says it doesn't matter if you consented, that's wrong because it's unhealthy, no one in their right mind will want to do that. There's a story in Germany, this is early 2000s. A guy in Germany was very turned on by all kinds of very forceful kinds of sex, including cannibalism. And he went on these German websites and these German sites, and they would have chatting of all kinds of stuff that you could do, whatever. And he baited and talked to these guys. I shouldn't say baited. He talked to the guys and says, what I want to do is, I've got it all set up in my room. I've got a table. I want someone to come here. And he had it all plotted out. I want a guy to come here. We're going to cut him. We're going to do certain things to his body and eat certain parts of his body that you can imagine. And while he bleeds, I'm going to go read this novel in the back and da-da-da-da. He found a guy who said, yeah, I'll do it. He came over to the house and did all of it. He filmed all of it, fully consenting. He was not drunk or high. He knew what he was doing, and everything he described is there. I've seen the pictures of the table that he used and everything. He did the whole thing. So the guy who ate a big chunk was over there reading his book, and the guy died in the pool, and he lived, and the police came, and of course he gets arrested. Guess what the defense attorney's claim is? It's on video. These are fully consenting adults. He didn't rape them, he didn't harm them, he didn't kidnap them, he was not under influence. Every single step is proof they were consenting adults. And guess what the court said? It does not matter, you've gone crazy, basically. There's nobody in their right mind, no healthy individual would have ever agreed to do that kind of thing. Therefore, you took advantage of them and you murdered them. Went to jail. That sounds crazy, but we're not that, well, okay. I think we're not that far off from that kind of stuff. That was in Germany. This isn't make-believe Martian. I mean, I showed them the news article online and everything. Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah. So the things people do, that's an extreme case, but my point here is people do all kinds of stuff that it's not that extreme, a little more subtle, but they're harming themselves. And when we get out of ourselves and ask healthy Christian individuals, not just condemnatory, judgmental punks, but healthy individuals, is this the healthiest option for a productive life and for the kingdom of God? If they say, no, that's not going to get you where you want to go, then I'm encouraging you to think about that and pay attention to what they say. And I've done that too. Ask people I trust and go, is this? That's a handful there. Let's go to bottom page 7, unless there's anything else. On that note, I need some donuts. Number 7, why can't I say no to myself? Why can't I say no to myself? Well, there's all kinds of reasons why. These are a few of them. We have no training or example in our lives. Just that simple put. A lot of people, some of you here perhaps, did not have good parents. Maybe you didn't say it that way because you're guilty. If you say that word, I feel so guilty. I've got to say they did their best. They tried hard. Their parents were much worse, and I'm so glad they worked their best. The problem is they weren't good. You deserved a better parent, and some people didn't get it, and they didn't teach you what they should have taught you. Some have parents to this day are still not teaching you well with time management and addictions and being self-critical and all kinds of stuff. You still have in your mind. Some of you have parents who have died, and in your mind you still hear them talking to you and criticizing or whatever. So sometimes we just don't get the training we were supposed to get, and it's good just to own it. We're accustomed to seeing other people's problems clearly, not our own. That's another reason why. Some people just don't have the capacity. In psychology, we call it the observing self or the observer self. That's the ability to get outside of yourself. So if Lisa were to just imagine for a second, Lisa's looking at Lisa. She's watching Lisa's behaviors, watching what Lisa thinks and does. What would she say about you? Right? That if you got outside yourself and looked and go, I wonder why she does it that way. It's called the observer self. Really healthy people have a strong observer self. They're able to critique themselves in a healthy way, a constructive way to go, I do better about this, or I'm real proud of you, way to go, or I wonder where you learned that from. That's a healthy observer. Some people just don't have that ability at all. They can see someone else, they can observe other people's lives. Here's your problem, Gene. Here's your problem. That's the big speck in their eye, 2x4, right? Some people can't say no because they withdraw from healthy bonded Christian relationships. And that's why. They don't have someone around them to help them, to say, I love you too much to let you do this to yourself anymore. I love you too much. I've got to tell you the truth. What you're doing is self-destructive. It's not good. We rely upon our own willpower. That's not good. Willpower alone. Science demonstrates this. They've done study after study. Willpower is literally a limited commodity. Have you ever noticed when you get home from work and your spouse or friend, someone says, "We're going for dinner"? I don't care. You choose. You ever said it before? Where are we going to eat tonight? I don't care. You choose. I don't give a rip. Why is that? I've been at work all day long. That's because at work you've been making decisions all the time, and your willpower of do this, that's a limited commodity. Some of you get to the rest of your day, you've not made a lot of decisions during the day, you've not had to fight off willpower and fight off temptation, you've got plenty, your tank is full. But oftentimes when you have job responsibilities, parenting with children, the constant sense of willpower, I got to keep going, I can't just go to bed right now because I got kids wandering around, that you're constantly saying no to what you want to do and constantly making decisions. That's a limited commodity. Your tank gets empty. So by the end of it, you have a short fuse, you're more temperamental, you get more angry easy, that kind of stuff. So therefore, it's harder to say no to that alcohol. It's harder to say no to that addiction, that whatever, because you've run out. Your willpower is not enough. It's not enough. You need to have structure in your life that helps you not have to have so much willpower. I want to say that right now because later on I'm going to say it again, but let me pause there. If you say, David, how do I do that? You develop structures in your life such that you don't have to practice willpower much. You don't. I have structure. I deliberately looked at houses in Northwest Lawrence because it was so close to the sports pavilion. Because I knew I was going to the gym. If I were farther away, it'd be more excuse for me not to go. And I knew moving here, it'd be less of an excuse. So I don't have to practice willpower as much to travel 15 minutes to the gym one way, which I did in Houston for 2.5 years. I deliberately did that to limit the amount of willpower I have to exercise. That's on purpose. I don't buy a bunch of snacks and put them in my office, so I don't have to practice the willpower saying no to that Snickers, which I love. I don't. I fill it with protein bars. I don't put regular soda drink. I put Coke Zero, God's favorite drink. I put diet stuff, whatever it is, deliberately. I put structure. So I've structured a lot of things in my life such that I don't have to practice willpower. So when I go home to my kids, I've got a lot more in my tank. I got more ability to listen, more ability to practice, be there with my wife. And so that during the day I can do that. I get up around the same time every day. I go to bed around the same time every day. I have these routines help me have structure around my life, not hardcore, but they help it such that I eat basically the same breakfast every morning, protein shake or eggs, and the lunch is this. That way I don't have to decide. I don't wake up and go, what am I going to eat? There's nothing. I'm shoving through the cupboards. What do I got to do? I've got to make a decision. Well, those donuts on the way is Dunkin' Donuts off of 6th. Well, I can't say no. I can't. You see what happens? My dad does that, and I love him. Oh, I love him. I know I shouldn't, but I go by that gas station and I get a Diet Coke and a blah, blah, and a blah, blah. I got to stop. But see, when he's not eating at home, his willpower he doesn't have it at that time to do it. So I put structure in my life so I don't have to go out of that tank all the time. It works. I'm trying to help you. I used to do this stuff in life coaching all the time. Okay, move on. Letter E. We have legitimate, healthy, unmet needs, but using unhealthy means to attempt to get those needs met. So you have the need for intimacy. You're trying to get that need met. You're just doing it the wrong way by getting compulsive, sexual, something else. You have a need for rest because you're stinking tired or stressed out. Instead of a healthy way of jogging, exercising, talking to a friend, praying, doing yoga, you're eating a gallon of ice cream. So they're legitimate needs. I need to rest. I need sometimes to escape. I need sometimes to take a break. I'm just trying to get that need met in an unhealthy way. Sometimes that's the reason why it's hard to say no to yourself. And that's usually why people mostly rationalize, well, I'm tired, that kind of stuff. Well, there's other ways to handle that, other coping mechanisms. Top of 8, we have unresolved grief, like I preached on last week, and continuing unhealthy patterns in order to deal with our woundedness, like addictions. So it's hard to say no because you're so sad and you've got unresolved grief, what we call repressed grief. That is the most common thing I've ever seen for any kind of addictive behavior is repressed grief. We are afraid of the unknown. This is very common too. I know unhealthy. What would it be like not to keep doing this? I know unhealthy. I see this in marriage relationships and I do marriage counseling all the time. How long have you been arguing? Oh, for years. What would it feel like if you weren't doing it? And there's always a pause. And I say things like, or ask questions like, are you ever afraid that if you didn't argue, he wouldn't talk to you anymore? Do you hear that? And how many times they go, I guess so. Let me ask this question. Oh, no, he would talk. Let me ask this question. If you did a proportion of how much of the day are you talking when you're arguing? 50% of the time? 80% of the time? Let me ask another question. How much part of the day proportionally is spent on tasks? Almost every spousal relationship communication is dominated by tasks. You got to pick up Jimmy, take him to handbells, Boy Scouts, what's for dinner, task, 50, 60, 70%. A lot of times we don't want to stop that because we like the little bit of trickling, a bit of the water drop of intimacy we get with our spouse. And I know that, I can count on it, but what you're talking about, David, sounds crazy. Because if I get rid of that, what if the drops stop altogether? So I don't want to say no. I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm afraid if I don't get it, what would happen? A lot of times it's hard to say no, letter H, because we receive strokes. That's a code word for emotional payoffs for doing what we do. We like it when we say yes. She's so dependable. She'll be there no matter what happens. I tell you what, I can always count on her. Well, yeah, but she's also because she's not saying no to anything in life. And she's burnt out. And she resents you for it, by the way. She just won't tell you. That's why I'm so adamant. I'm so adamant when I tell people. I'm like, well, I can do it. Are you sure? And I'll watch body language and never mind. No. Because I don't need you resenting me because you can't say no. That's worse. That's worse. Then you'll just quit all of a sudden. Where'd you go? They never come back to church again. Or they just drop off, or I get some curt email, all because they couldn't say no in the first place. So that's why you'll always hear me say, I've said to Lisa, I've said to anybody who works here, and they go, it's okay to say no to me. It's okay. So I don't need the strokes. We're so paralyzed from guilt and shame that exposing some issue is just too painful. So I can't say no to it. That's so sad. These are all sad, but that is so sad. That is so sad. Because there's healing to be had with good Christian counselors, therapists, perhaps even a good Christian pastor. I mean, there's healing. God wants it to be healed. And it's sad when people do that. It's too much pain. I'm not saying sad, pathetic for them. I mean, it's genuine. I feel sadness for them. Because some people hurt so badly, I would rather eat my gallon of ice cream. I'd rather keep my addiction. I'd rather because I can't go look at that again. It hurts too much. And I understand, and I'm sad for them. But that could be one of the reasons. Letter J, others might be physiological, right? The ADD stuff. It might be they have a biochemical imbalance. They need some meds. Then go get them. Go get them. How do I establish boundaries? Here's some samples of ideas. Examine your own patterns and identify where you need better boundaries. Gain an observing self if you don't have one. Get really good at looking at yourself. So many times I've driven down in my truck down the road, I've had a really, really bad day, and I become my own therapist. I do. I picture myself, I go, David, what would I say to myself if I walked in my room? No, because now I know perfectly what the problems are. So I don't have to say, tell me about your day. I already know. So I get to the end of it. Now knowing what I know, what would I say to myself? And I mean, I've had some profound insights when I do that. That's the observer self. I never thought of it that way before. Just getting outside myself and, well, you could do this. Why can't I think about that 5 minutes ago or whatever it is? And I prayed during that time, God, show me. Examine my heart and mind. If you'll notice, I all the time pray. This is on purpose. In prayers, I often pray, God, reveal to us who we really are. Show us who we really are, our hearts and minds. Show us who we really are so that we can be better disciples, so that the Spirit can do His great work. I get that from Paul in Romans 8, who the Spirit moves and speaks in groans that words cannot express. But oftentimes we need help from God to let us see, I didn't realize that about myself. And so pray for it, but examine your own patterns. And of course, letter B, take responsibility for them. It might not be your fault where it first came from, but now it's your responsibility to do something about it. My parents did that all my life. Well, there's your cause. That's how the fire got started. That's not your fault. It's not your fault. My parents never taught me how to have time boundaries. They never taught me how to say no to the donut That's not your fault then. There you go. You put your finger right on the cause. Now what are you going to do about it? If you choose to do nothing about it, now you were what we call playing the victim. Before you knew what it was, you were a genuine victim. Now you're playing the victim. Well, it's just so hard. Oh, it is hard, but now you know what the problem is. I mean, the fire's ablaze. No, it's not, but look at all that smoke. Oh, you know, I tell you, it was set ablaze years ago. It was. How are you going to put it out? You know, you don't understand. My parents, those matches were big. If the fire's burning, it's about to burn out. That's how the analogy works. When I realize I have internal boundary problems, I typically, what do you do here? Some of you have been circling already. I see it. I'm just kidding. Blame someone else. Make an excuse, avoid it, deny it, make little of it, rationalize it, deal with it. What do you do? Amen. So now you can really circle the last one, or almost the penultimate. Deal with it. That's right. I'm dealing with it. Right. This is the hard part. We got to be just real honest. I've had a mirror, and this is for you, not for me, right? This is between you and God. And what do you do right now? I mean, what do you do in life? If you have an issue, you know, if you say, yeah, I know I ought to, but. What's your but? Yeah, I know I ought to, but. Does that mean you make an excuse? Do you blame someone? What's the reason? Figure out why that is the case. What are you afraid of? If you were to make the change, what are you afraid of? There's some fear in there somehow. Address your real, actual need. Is it intimacy? Is it love? Is it need for healthy food? Is it need for time? Is it for bonding? Some people spend their money wildly because when they were a kid they were poor and they had no money. And then they grow up and then there's like, well, I've got money in my pocket, I burned through it. And they get in debt. It's not because they just want to get stuff. They're reacting to their childhood. Well, they have a real need, that is to feel like something's theirs. They own something. And they never felt that as a child. Now they're adult and they're trying to get that felt need met, but they don't know how to stop it. So they overexpend immediately, they don't save anything. So oftentimes you figure out what's the real need you're trying to get met, and then get the healthy way to get it, the healthy way. And I've given you several examples already about intimacy and pornography and stuff. Find a trusted friend or counselor and start addressing those needs. And you need someone loving and supportive and gentleness. You don't need a parent or critical parent or rescuer. What I mean is, a critical parent, maybe that's the next study. Usually I do boundaries and I do transactional analysis. Maybe I ought to do that. A critical parent is the position, it's called an ego state. But anyway, someone's acting like a critical parent when they're telling you what to do or they're criticizing you. That's a critical parent. And I'm doing this with my hand because they're in the one-up position. They're the ones, if they tell you how to do it. In English, it's the imperative verb. Clean up your room. Clean is the imperative. It's bossy. If they're fussing at you or they're telling you what to do, they're in the critical parent position. That's what you do not need. You do not need that. Critical parents will baptize their language as, I'm just trying to help. They might be trying, but they're miserable at it. They're not helping. You need to say no to them. You need to have enough self-esteem to say, I'm worth more than this. You don't talk down to me like that. Now, you don't need that. So if you find yourself opening up to a person, I've got internal boundaries on this problem, will you help me here? And they go, well, here's your problem. Chelsea, what you really need to do is, you open up with the wrong person. Now, David, does that mean if I met with a therapist in the office of therapist or counselor and therapy person, counselee, if they tell me, even then, if they're good, they're going to nuance their vocabulary very clearly. They're going to say something along the lines of, have you thought about? Or what would you like to do? What do you think the most healthy thing? They are deliberately going to fight themselves from saying, here's what you need to do. They will, if they do that, they're not trained well. And it's for the exact reason. It's because they have been trained not to be that critical parent, because the typical response to a critical parent is either acquiescence and they lose themselves, or rebellion. I'll show you. And some people love critical parents just so they can keep rebelling against them. They do that with pastors, by the way. They grow up in families, or they had a previous authority figure, or they were bossy with them, and then what they do is they assume all people in that office from thenceforth are just like the past one. I see it all the time. Then they react to me like I'm a person from 50 years ago or 20 years ago. How fair is that? It's not fair at all, but that's reality. That's the world we live in.
Can't concentrate when someone does that to me.
Can't concentrate.
A lot. It's just like, just get all confused.
Yeah, it is confusing. And it's especially when we do transaction analysis, especially if you talk to a person like an adult and they take it as a critical parent. They take it as a child. So if I say, hey, have you thought about so-and-so, so-and-so? And they'll go, don't tell me what to do. Or what they, like, what? We'll talk about that later. You don't want a parent to open up to, you don't want a rescuer. A rescuer is the opposite of a critical parent. They can be a nurturing parent gone crazy. That is to say, they don't want you to feel anxiety. They don't want you to feel negative feelings. They will rescue you. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. No. I got it. No, you're fine. No, you're not ever late. No, it's no big deal. Look, I'm okay. You're okay. Give me a hug. You don't want them either. They're not good for you. To use it, I think as John Townsend says, between grace and truth. If there's too much truth, you're a critical parent and you're just condemnatory. If there's too much grace, that's the rescuer. You need someone who has truth and grace. That's how you have it.
Stand on our own 2 feet.
What's that?
We have to stand on our own 2 feet.
Stand on our own 2 feet.
Taking that away from us is not good.
Not good at all. That's right. That's right. So you don't want a rescuer who, So if someone comes to you and says, let's say for example, I'm just being hypothetical, I really am. This does not happen. Lisa comes up and says, David, okay, I think I see this about myself. I need help. And I'm going to say, okay, well, how can I help you? Are you asking for my help? Yeah, I like your help, David. How can I help you? Well, maybe you can do, I don't know what I can do. Okay, well, maybe tell more about your situation. How can I see about maybe I can help? Talk. I'll go, well, now, have you thought more how I can help you? See, I'm still waiting up to you because we're two adults. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Well, I don't know. I still don't know. And I say, well, David, what do you think? Well, if you ask me, then I'll tell you, I'm thinking about this. Have you thought about this? But see, it's a give and take adult relationship. What I'm not going to do is say, no, it's okay. Don't you worry about that. That's the rescuer. Real healing can happen if she's able to come to the light, but in safety. If she goes, I can't stop smoking crack, David. I can't stop. I hope that's not true. I can't stop. Now, if I go, that's a sin. See, I turn on a critical parent, which I would never in a million billion years do. Immediately she's going to close down that flower. She's done. And she should. And you shouldn't talk to me again about that issue. That's not what you want to. You don't want a person like that who can't wait to condemn you and just preach at you. You need a safe place to go. That must be very difficult and hard. How can I help you move on? How can I help you grow past that? Notice how I'm not saying, oh Lord, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do, Lisa? I mean, I haven't slept for 3 weeks and I just can't get up. See, oh my Lord, that's called transference. That's my boundary problem, taking all the weight of your issue on me. That's not healthy either. Because then what happens is, what's going to happen very quickly, you're going to want to rescue me from my pain and my anxiety by not telling me anymore or trying to make me feel better. Well, now we flipped roles. Now you're my counselor. You see this happens all the time, every day in conversations all the time with people. Not with me per se, but with people in general it happens. That's not what we want. And that's the difference. We don't want that. We want a supportive, healthy friend or counselor. Counselors are going to be better at it typically, but friends can be great too. They speak truth but with gentleness. And letter E, you practice baby boundaries and you have to stinking celebrate when you do. So many times I hear people say, I'll say, how'd you do last week in a counseling scenario? Well, it was fine. I mean, any good news on the homework? Yeah, a couple times I did this. What? That's really big? No, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. But they're so quick to judge and diminish themselves that I'm trying so badly. You've got to celebrate that. That's a big deal. When you teach an old dog new tricks, it's a big deal. And so we need to celebrate that. And you can do it on inside. How do I celebrate? By eating a gallon of ice cream. No, you don't do that. You don't want to reinforce food. But you celebrate. Way to go. I'm so proud of myself. That's wonderful. Write that down. I did a great job. I'm very proud of myself. Sometimes that's just enough to say, way to go, me. David, I want to be prideful. That's not prideful. Pride is when you think you're better than other people. That's pride. It's not pride to think I've done something well. C.S. Lewis says pride is essentially competitive. It's not that you think you're pretty, you think you're prettier. It's not that you think you're strong, you're stronger. You don't just know the Bible. You know the Bible more than other people. There's a lot of prideful people. I could preach about the Bible. Well, who does he think he is? That's their pride issue. That's their pride issue. Or pretty or handsome or fast or educated or whatever. How many grandkids? Grandparents always compete on this. I've never not heard older congregation compete on how many grandkids and great-grandkids. And someone always pulls out the ace of spades. I've got 23 great-grandkids. Skadoosh! They slam the car down. They goes, oh, and the conversation's over. Because it's a one-upman. Whoever's got the biggest, because I can't just have grandkids. I have to have more than you. That's pride. So when you don't do that, celebrate. But pride because they're insecure. That's the good thing. Or they might be narcissistic. Typically, they're just insecure. Pride only comes from one of two places: insecurity or genuine narcissism. And I've met both. I've met a few narcissists.
Say that again.
Pride only comes from one of two places: insecurity or narcissism. Narcissism is the genuine belief that you are better than other people. You really do look down upon. You have a genuine superior attitude. You really do deep down believe you're smarter than other people, better than other people. And that we manifested by either one of two things: not talking to you much and ignoring what you have to say because you're so petty I don't even listen to you. Or two, trying to fix everything you say and arguing with you all the time to get you to believe what I believe. That's narcissistic. Most people suffer from pride from insecurity. Now, there's a pride of sin. That's a different kind of issue. Psychologically, the pride is insecurity. That is, I don't feel confident in who I am, that I've got to be better, or I'm not sure if I matter or not. Every time you hear a person say, oh, I'm competitive, I know I am, I can't play Monopoly, I just got to win, I'm so competitive, they have low self-esteem, unless they're a genuine narcissist. But the odds are very high. If I'm betting guy, 95% of the time, they have very, very low self-esteem. Anybody you meet who's competitive has a low self-esteem. Guarantee it. Healthy people with a healthy self-esteem have no compulsive desire to win. They go, you can win, I don't care. Good. High five, congratulations. Man, I creamed you. Sure did, way to go. It will suck all the life out of the other person though, because they want you to go, no, oh, good. They want to feel like you beat you. Yeah, good job. They're just the sense of confidence that I don't need to be better than you in this. I had a good time playing the game. That was fun for me. I enjoyed being with you, but winning was irrelevant. I mean, do I like losing? No, it's not fun to lose, but not a bit of my self-esteem was on the table, Monopoly, or the race, or the Bible verse memorization game, or the whatever. Nope, I'm fine just being me. Okay, well, that's enough about pride, I guess. Allow yourself to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. I'm just looking at you because you're nearby. It's going to happen, friends. Listen, sisters, sisters, my people. You're just going to fail. At boundaries, sometimes you're just going to fail, especially until you get really good at them. So give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. Oh, I should know better. I had a whole class on that. I even go back. I can read it on the letter. It's going to take time. If you're real bad at it, it's going to take time. So give yourself grace. Please give yourself grace. Now, I just told you what to do. That's a critical parent thing to do, but I'm doing it in a very gentle way. I said, give yourself grace. But please, give yourself mercy and grace. You're going to fail. God has forgiven you. He wants you to grow up. Pick yourself up. I'm going to do better tomorrow. Yesterday, I wasn't that good at time management. Today, a little better. When I do well, I'm going to celebrate. It's going to be great. My last thing, and not least, but I'm telling you, not least, which is, what if I really, really am a real victim? Not just playing the victim. Remember back to my analogy. Now, you know there's something wrong, you got to fix it. You're playing the victim. But if you don't know, if a victim is a person, while in a helpless state, is exploited by someone else and injured, they're in a helpless state and they're injured physically, sexually, verbally, demonically. Being a victim I'm reading every word, has far-reaching and deleterious effects. Childhood victims cause severe problems such as depression, compulsive disorders, isolation, an inability to establish boundaries, phobias, addictions, rage, suicidal thoughts, and an inability to trust. Those who have been injured by another must seek professional help in addition to the suggestions mentioned in Roman numeral 5 above. There are legitimate victims, and not for one second have I said or implied that boundary problems are always just because there's something wrong with you. There are legit victims, and I meet them all the time. So if you're a real legit victim of these issues, and you find yourself have strong compulsive desires, it might be because you were victimized when you were younger. An enormous amount of adult problems come from childhood. So you need professional help. Get it. Get it. The first place you went when you hurt your foot was where? You went to the doctor. Does that mean you're a sinner? No. Does that mean you're too weak? No. Is it so shameful? No. You broke your foot. She was kicking Ken, and he deserved it, but it still broke. You went to the doctor. Look, there are emotional wounds we have. We should go straight to the doctor to say, this doesn't feel right, I wonder. And look, be safe than sorry. Look, I mean, go then. The doctor go, nothing wrong with you at all. I'm so glad you came to visit. Right. Oh my goodness. Err on the side of caution and go, is there anything going on at all? I encourage couples in marriage counseling, just go from time to time just because, just as a checkup. There's a shame involved. Oh, I can't go there, and Christians should never. Whatever. No. People are genuine victims, and there's help for you. There's help. There is help. If I had $1 for every time I heard a person go, I didn't realize other people struggled with that. I mean, I'm telling you, they do. You might be shocked to learn the stuff that has happened to people in this church. You might be shocked, the stuff I hear. The stories, I'm telling you, you don't know. I'm not saying you don't literally, I know that a lot of y'all know people, but I'm saying we as humans don't know what a person's story is when you meet them. It's amazing. I learned that a long time ago. I'm not that old, but I learned it when I was very young, to realize every hand I shake, there is a long history behind it. And in that very second, I'm getting them in that very second as a product of all those things that have happened to him or her and the decisions they made. Doesn't mean I always like what they have to say to me, but I realize that's what they're coming from. And that's one of the reasons I like to hear their story. But there's a lot going on. I'm saying that because so many people don't go to a counselor because they feel ashamed and go, there's no way. I got to be the only one or whatever. And so if you don't have that problem, good. If other people you know have that problem, encourage them. Say, I'm telling you, I might not have felt what you felt. Maybe I had better parents than you. But I'm encouraging you ought to go talk to a counselor, go talk to someone. And if I don't know, I'll talk to David, whatever y'all call me here, and we'll find someone. There's help. There's help.